Hi everyone, it's Margaret Manning here, and welcome to Mornings with 60 and Me. Today is Wednesday, it's September the 21st. Hope you're having a great Wednesday morning so far. I'm having my cup of tea this morning. I'm really enjoying my box of Buddha box of tea with all these different herbal teas. Well, this one this morning is hibiscus and mint. Now, I've had hibiscus before, but never with mint, and it's really good. So I hope that you're experimenting with teas as well. Let us know what you're drinking, and we can share and try ourselves. But grab a coffee or a tea, whichever you prefer, and let's go through the news of the day. Now, first of all, though, I wanted to mention that today is International Day of Peace. It's a day that the United Nations has set aside every year, September 21st, to acknowledge the values of peace and cooperation between countries, and to ask for countries within the countries and also between countries to establish some values of peace and cooperation and compassion. So it's a day that we all should take very seriously. And it is kind of ironic that as you read the news of the day, it doesn't seem sometimes to be very aligned with that. But peace and happiness around the world is the desire. And I just like to extend it even to our personal lives. That perhaps today is the day that we make peace with ourselves, we make peace with people around us, and just try to instill that value in us today. International Day of Peace is today. So just a few things that are going on in this world. First of all, in Jordan, 4 million voters are going to the polls today to elect a new president, and we'll see what happens there. Like most countries in the world, there's interesting dynamics and opposition, and we'll see how that comes out. Just a quick note: in Libya, 2 Italians and 1 Canadian citizen were kidnapped a couple of days ago, and they still have not been located. So that part of the world is still in a bit of turmoil. In North Korea, ground tests of a new high-powered rocket have been successful. So North Korea is still on its path of testing these high-powered weapons. In India, Pakistan and Indian troops continue to have challenge in that northwest part of India, northeast part of India, I should say, in Kashmir. And they're really struggling to find a way to live in harmony in Kashmir, since it's a primarily Muslim population, but governed and ruled by both Pakistan and India. So it's a challenge. And every day there seems to be something happening in that part of the world. The migrant situation, I wanted to bring you up to speed on. The number of people that have crossed the Mediterranean from countries around the world to get into Europe this year, 2016, has reached 300,000. This is a huge number of people. I was listening to some news yesterday that the numbers out of Syria just over the last few years have reached over 1 million, and this is just continuing to happen as the war in Syria continues, and it just seems very challenging in so many parts of the world. So 300,000 have crossed the Mediterranean already this year. Now, there's been a big fire at a migrant camp in Greece. I reported on that yesterday, and 8 people have been arrested as a result of that. It seems that it might have been caused deliberately. There's a lot of tension in those migrant camps, a lot of people waiting for periods of time to be processed, and of course now the average individuals who are just trying to find a better life are struggling. They've actually brought in a huge boat into the harbor to take these people on board that are homeless because of the fire. So that's another piece of news to report. Now, you probably know this in the UK and many of you in the States. It's been a hot summer, and it turns out that August has actually broken the global heat record for the 16th consecutive month. So if we didn't think there was a little change going on in the weather, whatever you think the cause might be, it's happening. And that's the 16th month in a row that the global temperature has gone up. Now, there's an agreement being discussed right now at the UN. It's called the Paris Climate Change Agreement. This is one of the many things they're talking about this week in New York. But basically, what they're trying to do is come to an agreement about greenhouse emissions and making changes in governments locally to help with this climate change issue. And there's over 128 countries represented in the UN, but if they get 55 to sign this agreement this week, then the agreement will go into effect, and that will mean that people will start having to align some of their practices in their countries to improve climate conditions. I saw that Theresa May has said that the UK is going to agree sometime this year. I don't know whether it'll happen this week, but there's a lot of implications of making that commitment. So let's hope that 55 agree so that we can get this on the books and get it moving. I think it's really important. Now, let's see, in France, quick note on France, related to migrants, actually. It goes back to the issue of Calais being a place where a lot of migrant refugees have stayed, waiting to get to the UK. They called it the jungle. It's a very big camp, I think over 5,000 people there. And it's been preventing trucks and people from getting across the border, I guess getting across the channel into England and the UK. So they started to build a wall. And this wall is going to help to keep the camp from the main road so that trucks and citizens who live in France and want to get to Europe or want to get to England can move. So anyway, the wall is beginning to be built. It's starting this week. Now, what else can we talk about? Oh, yes, President Obama gave his last talk at the United Nations yesterday, and it was an opportunity for him to really say the things that are on his mind, kind of summarize how he sees the world. And he talked very free openly about the challenges with nationalism in certain countries around the world, heavy-handedness. He talked about the movement to populist government in many, many countries around the world, where people are rising up against established governments and trying to get their voice heard. And so these populist movements are happening everywhere. And he talked about that. He also talked about, of course, the military or the lack of a military solution in Syria, and really how negotiation, diplomacy is the only way it's going to end. And of course, he's also talked about how many wealthy nations can step up and help this migrant situation that really affects us all. And, back to his comment about Syria. The very last story I'll mention is that, as you probably have heard, there was an attack on an aid convoy moving from the Turkish border into Syria. And it's another big news item. It's all over the place because it's just, who is responsible. Russia and the Syrian government are saying they didn't do it. United States is saying that they weren't involved. But 12 people were killed, 18 trucks carrying food and clothing for the people in Syria were destroyed. So it's a really challenging time in this world today. So let's hope that the day of peace kicks in at some point here, and we can see some just softening of the chemistry between people in the world. I don't know what it will take. But here we are as individuals. We have our own lives that we're trying to live. We're trying to accomplish as much as we can in our own world. And I pulled in an article today that I thought would just maybe uplift us a little bit and give us some perspective on the future. And it's an article by one of our great bloggers. Her name's Joan Moran. And she wrote a really wonderful article about your bucket list and about how to create your bucket list. How to establish the things that are important in your life. What are the places you want to go? The things you want to do, the challenges you want to overcome, or things you want to accomplish. How do you create a bucket list that contains all of those things? And her article is very good because it starts before the list. She talks about how you prepare yourself, how you get into the frame of mind that gives you the tools and the resources to decide and define your bucket list. You just don't go off just saying, I want to go here or there. Just think about why you're asking these questions. Why what's in your bucket list is there. So she talks about 5 things. And the first, and I hope you're finding this useful, by the way. And if by the way I'm talking, by the way, feel free to leave your comments below on anything we've talked about. As this is your time, your show, and hopefully it's a balance of news and inspiration for you. So back to Joan's article. She says that the first thing to do is basically know what's important in your life. And this is giving self-examination, having an attitude of gratitude for everything you've got, but looking beyond that, what you want to accomplish. The second thing is to be vulnerable and to recognize your vulnerability and to take that into account when you're putting together your bucket list of things you want to do. Be real, be real with yourself about what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses. The next thing is, in the middle of all this, these desires that you might have had for years, look at the opportunities that have evolved over the years, things you wouldn't have thought about. Be open-minded about what you put in that list, and maybe embrace some risks and opportunities, instead of the predictable. The next thing is to find your passion. Now, this is, of course, related to knowing yourself, but I think it's deeper than just a self-knowledge. It's what do you do that you love? What makes you smile? Whenever you do it, you just feel it lights you up. That's the thing to find and somehow make that a basis for what you include in your list of things to do. And then the last thing that she mentions, which I think is great, Joan, is to actually let go of baggage. Don't be doing things in your 60s that that should be left behind. If you've got someone to forgive them. If you've got a situation to forget it, and just move on. And that's with those 5 sort of frames of mind, you can start designing that bucket list. You can start putting together a plan for what you'd love to do in your 60s and 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond. This is a time for you now to do what you want. Now, today is International Peace Day, as I've already said, but it's also World Gratitude Day. And I read this early this morning before I kind of woke up. I just checked the news first thing, and I sat in my bed and I was literally meditating and going through the things I'm grateful for. And in my mind immediately went to my family, my friends, the people that in the community that I adore. And then I was actually holding a glass of water, and I started to drink it, and I thought, gosh, I'm just so grateful, honestly, for this water. And it made me think of all the people around the world who don't have fresh drinking water. And I just, at that point, decided today, I'm going to, basically, anything I do, I'm going to try to remember to say I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for my cup of tea. I'm grateful for my good health. I'm grateful for you. And not to make it too big a deal, but just to be conscious today of the things I'm grateful for. And maybe you can do the same. It's a really cool exercise, I think. So it's World Gratitude Day. It's International Day of Peace. In other words, it's going to be a good Wednesday. It's going to be a great Wednesday. So enjoy the rest of your day. Have a really fabulous time. Do something good for yourself. And, and my question for the day is going to go back to the bucket list, because I'm really curious. What is in your bucket list, on your bucket list? What are the things you want to accomplish in your life? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What is in your bucket list? And so leave your comments in the section below. I will join the conversation, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. Help each other out there. I loved yesterday. People were commenting and supporting one another, and that's what this is all about. So, please be there for one another. It's important. So, what's on your bucket list? That's my question for today. Have a fabulous Wednesday, everyone. I'll see you back here tomorrow on Mornings with 60 and Me. Bye-bye for now.